Recording in progress.
Part 3.
Stopping in, we've been tapping in, we ain't never late. Dropping gems, we've been locking in. Now let's elevate. Took L's to win, running laps again. This is steady race. People's champ, boy, yeah, you know I've been a heavyweight. Stopping in, we've been tapping in, we ain't never late. Dropping gems, we've been locking in. Now let's elevate. Took L's to win, running laps again. This is steady race. People's champ, boy, yeah, you know I've been a heavyweight.
Was that Diddy-ish?
We are back for part 3. Part 3. This is the Popcorn Popular Don't Stop Party. I watched a ton of movies in the time since our last one. Like, what are we at? Like, I want to say 6 or 7 movies.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 movies. You put your work in.
I mean, the biggest movie on here, which we'll save for last, is Avatar 2.
Okay. Can we get to home cooking first? I want to squeeze the home.
Of course, I'm just trying to let people know what we're going to do with this, because we've been trying to make these episodes a little bit shorter, and I know that we also just went really long on Insomnia Hour. Mm-hmm. So I would with these 7 movies, if we could try to keep them under 5 minutes, or at least the first 6 movies. I feel like Avatar is probably the one that needs to be talked about a bit more.
At the time.
You haven't seen any of these movies, right?
No.
So it's I can't get into spoilers anyway. So because I can't get into spoilers, I feel like all I really need to do is tell people what the movie is, what it's about, and should they go watch it. And with that being said, I mean, go for it. You want to go for the home cooking? I'm coming home again. Do you think about me now and then? Do you think about me now and then? 'Cause I'm coming home again. It's time for some home cooking with Big Nasty and Uncle Raisin.
All right. Lot of news for home cooking.
A lot of news?
I mean, well, we have 3 main topics. Usually we try to hit the one big topic. Put that tag away. We ain't giving no promotion out to nobody.
Nobody needs to see no tag.
There you go. Some nutritional fat, like the way you have the bottle, that ain't it.
It's not bad. It's not what I expected.
I don't know what you was expecting.
You want to take a sip?
Nope.
It's real.
Nope.
It's real leafy.
Look like you drinking planetarian Hulk urine.
It tastes like that too.
But
I feel like this is what I should be drinking, but at the same time, I feel like I drank I found this outside.
Is it an acquired taste? Like if you drink enough of it, you could get used to it.
It tastes like they knew it was going to be nasty and was just but you like apples? You know what I mean? It was so it's you can't hate it because it tastes like apples. And it was there's supposed to be some lemon in here. I haven't really got to the lemon part yet.
They put your medicine in their mashed potatoes.
So, yeah, pretty much. It was one of those type of deals. And I feel like there's banana in this, but it's I don't see it say banana anywhere. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I know I took away. I'm gonna chug this mug. I'm gonna let you know that too.
Go ahead. I want to see the chug. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Look at the residue at the bottom of the bottom. What the
So you did that, and now you made it grow. Look at this. Sucked off the Incredible Hulk. I just watched She-Hulk, baby. All right, home cooking. Home cooking.
Oh my goodness. All right. A lot of recognition going out to the city. All right. First things first. I know it's well past the time, but Springfield Tigers youth football team. Mm-hmm. First team in history to bring 4 teams down to compete on a national level.
I would say last time we checked, you guys had the thing at City Hall. Mm-hmm. And then you were getting ready to take your flight.
Yes, so we got honored at City Hall, and then we took our flight. We brought 4 teams out. Unsuccessfully, we didn't win a national title, but we did go out there and let them know that Springfield was playing good football. Our 14U team did come home with 3rd place, so we did bring some hardware home. And the way it's looking, if this team stays at the level that they're at, then there shouldn't be any reason why they don't continue to go to Florida every year and just continue to keep getting better.
So that's the expectation now, right?
Yes, that is. So we brought our 10, 11, 12, and 14U teams down there. Okay. So it's pretty dope. And there's other teams looking to fill the voids of where we weren't successful. We're trying to get the whole organization down there.
Say less.
Show up all jerseys, 100.
Y'all gonna have your own Frontier flight?
I'm trying to tell you. Chart it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
say
we'll
less.
see. But yeah, I just want to say congratulations because, like, as men, we know what we're looking for, but these are young individuals. Like, they haven't met adversity. They're still growing as young men. So for them to have role models in their life, but also be stepping up to this challenge on what they're being asked to do, I can only commend them for stepping out there and doing their thing. So shout out to the Springfield Tigers.
Shut up.
All right. Next is I believe today is National Signing Day for high school players.
Is it?
I believe.
I know it's like National Short People Day. I know that has nothing to do with nothing, but it's like that's a day.
Shout out to
Short people.
But I believe Central High School had about 5 or 6 athletes who signed to D1 colleges. And the most prevalent is everyone talking about William Pop Watson III.
Obviously.
He decommitted from Nebraska and is now going to Virginia Tech.
You think that was a better move, or?
I think that's a conversation people would have to have with him.
Okay.
I think he's a great athlete, so no matter where he would land, I think he's going to have an opportunity to shine and show them what his talents are.
Did he state why? Like, did he have any reason?
I know there were some coaching changes in Nebraska.
That'll do it.
I haven't really had a chance to talk to him. You said Colorado. Really, Shador's going over there.
Yeah.
But I haven't really had a chance. Like, that's like his thing, his family thing. I really don't pry in situations like that. I'm just happy that the young man found somewhere where he landed.
He just had the opportunity.
Yeah, I heard he had a chance to have a conversation with Mike Vick because that's his old stomping grounds.
That's fire, bro.
He's always getting the comparisons of the strong arm, fast feet, leave you behind.
Who's like the best player that ever went to Nebraska? I feel like it's an obvious one, but
no, Russell was at Wisconsin.
Yep.
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
Because I'm just saying, like, if you were to be like, oh, like, what college do you want to go to, and it was just like you bring out your alumni, Michael Vick's a heavy person to bring out, definitely. Especially to a young black man.
Definitely.
Just any young minority. Like, you want to talk about anybody that played Madden 2005 is like, yo, you talking about Mike Vick? You gonna bring out Mike Vick to come talk to me? Remember the commercial, the Mike Vick experience, when they put you in the things?
Yes.
I used to love that commercial, bro.
And I think confirmation for all of this was like Pop did get invited to play in the Army All-American game for the high school players, and they also invited some underclassmen who were performing at the top of their class. So
I feel like I heard of some of these underclassmen.
Oh yeah, so there was 4 of them 5 maybe. So Matthias Barber plays wide receiver. Dwayne Early plays wide receiver. You got Jack Casey, who plays linebacker. You have Noah Carter, I believe, who plays DB, and then Shondez Buchanan, who also plays DB.
That name sounds real familiar. I can't figure out why that sounds so familiar.
And cool little Spanish-looking black kid. You probably know.
Yeah, real mixed.
Yeah.
Buchanan.
Yeah.
Wow, sounds familiar.
Pale.
But
so pale. I think what was dope about it is
it's his son. Just say it's your son, bro. It's your son.
We know that.
Your son went there.
We know that.
All right?
We know that. But I think the dope part about
Stop trying to be like you're not a proud poppy. I know that you're proud. Just show it.
That's what I'm getting to.
Stop trying to be composed. Be mad and ignorant.
Listen, it's for me, it's like, because I've known all these kids since they were babies. It's just like, it's not only just being proud for them. It's not like just a proud pop. It's like a proud uncle. You know what I mean? Because all these little dudes, I've seen them grow up. And it was like, none of them did not go down there and not perform.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Oh, I forgot Kajai Charles. I'm tripping. My bad, Neff. Kajai Charles went out there. He plays center for Central. He has been a starter at the center position since a freshman. So he went out there. He dominated at his position. And they do all these like prototype evaluations of each kid. So it's like Shondez is like, he doesn't have the frame of like the 6'2", 6'3" guy, but he has all the intangibles, the great feet, great footwork, knowledge of the game. Dwayne Early, they were comparing him to Joe and other premier wide receivers and saying he can be just as great. They were saying Jack Casey is a downhill linebacker. Kajai, literally, they have like videos.
He's Jack Casey Jr., by the way.
Jack Casey Jr.
Because I was like, because Jack was in my class, and it was like
Right.
I was like, I hope that brother's still not playing for Central.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Kajai Charles completely dominated any lineman that they put in front of him. You know what I mean? And like, if you ever go on Twitter, then there's videos of all the gentlemen there. And then there was a lot of videos of the plays that Pop got in when he was actually playing quarterback in the All-American game. He made some really good plays where he made a defender break both his hips and then threw, not literally.
I know, but like,
he hit him with that shimmy and then threw for a first down. He threw another first down. He had another like 20, 30-yard run. He didn't get in the end zone, but everything that he did was productive. You know what I mean? And it was ironic that the coach from Nebraska that's no longer there was still one of the coaches for the All-American game. And they literally quoted him for saying, he's a stellar athlete. I'm glad to see that we got this one right. You know what I mean? So it's like, and everybody out there was just like, you can tell that this kid can make plays and that he's going to do great where he goes. So it's just good to see these young men growing and setting the example for kids that are going to come up behind them. And it's just like they are setting like precedents for people to understand that there is good athletic play in Springfield.
Absolutely.
So it's dope. Shout out to those young men.
Anything else for home cooking?
Nope, that's it.
All right. I feel like real quick, I need to read off like the ingredients that were in this thing that I just drank because I was like, it looked crazy. Kale, spinach, Swiss chard, whatever that is, romaine, just romaine celery, I guess, cucumbers, ginger, lemon, and apple. Like I said, it wasn't awful. It wasn't bad. Like
it sounds spicy.
It wasn't spicy.
It wasn't?
It wasn't spicy.
Because you start messing with that ginger and that turmeric,
I feel like,
you get that, why is it spicy?
I don't think there was turmeric in there, so like I'm good.
No,
but like,
okay.
You know how like I just burped a second ago, and I was like, I got like a second taste of it.
Smelled it.
And it was like, I was like, oh, that wasn't a bad taste on that burp. I still got though.
It smelled like fertilizer.
Cowabunga. Anyways, don't stop, pop that.
There you go.
So like, I know we have 6 movies here. We're gonna try to keep them under, at least the first 6. We're gonna try to keep them like around 5 minutes each. Okay. So like that way, like we're not taking too much time. We're gonna try to get the plot of these movies. Is it worth your time? And then like what level it's on in the nasty scale. I don't know if like you're gonna keep a timer or like how you're gonna do it. So like that way we could try to keep it.
I got you.
At a certain point.
I got you.
What's the first movie on the list?
The first movie is Bones and All.
All right, Bones and All.
First thing I thought was Blood and Bone.
That's it. You'd be better off watching Blood and Bone. It's a great movie. Where the nigga bone at? So Blood and Bone is about like this young black girl who like lives in like kind of like an impoverished area. I think she lives like in the trailer park with like just her dad, and like you get like this sense, like this vibe, like they're constantly moving because of something, but like you don't know what that something is. Okay. This girl eventually goes to a party with like she sneaks out, goes to this all girl party, and somebody winds up cutting their finger, and like she just goes like, oh, let me see, and she's like, oh, stuff like that, and it's like yomps the girl's finger, and you're like, yo, what the hell's going on? So like, and then they show the girl's finger, like she literally takes like all the meat off of the bone and stuff like that. And I'm like, yo, is this a vampire movie? Like, what's going on? Like, yeah. And then like, yo, the pops, like as soon as she comes back, like she got the blood on her mouth, and pops is like, yo, you did it again? Yo, we gotta be out. So like they leave, they go to like another state. So like you see them, like they're kind of living or whatever. And then one morning, pops just isn't there no more. He left her like a bunch of money on the table. It was like, I can't do this. Turns out this girl is a cannibal. And she's been a cannibal since she was like 3 years old. They said the first time that it happened, she bit the babysitter to the point where like the babysitter was like missing like her face or whatever. And like they found her like in a bathroom floor, like bleeding out type of deal or whatever. So like they've kind of just been like masking it and hiding underneath it, but she constantly has these things where they have to pick up and move like all the time. So now she's on her own.
You watched this in the movies?
It was in the movie theater, yeah. Okay. It's apparently it's based off of a book, so it's like a young adult novel or whatever it is. So now like she's on her own. She is like just kind of wandering around, and she finds like this old guy who seeks her out, and like he tells her, he's like, "Yo, I could smell you from a far away. Like I knew that you were like," he's like, "I knew that you were like me," type of deal. And she's like, all right. So then like he kind of teaches her like the ways of being a cannibal. He's like, yo, you're not the only one. I've met a bunch of different people. Like as you just kind of go into this, like you'll get the senses and like all this other stuff or whatever. She kind of gets freaked out by him. She runs away, but then she meets another one who's a young Timothy Chalamet, which is the kid from Dune. So like now we have a young attractive black girl, young attractive white guy. They're both cannibals. They're kind of trying to figure this thing out. Like, are we together because we're both young and attractive, or are we together because like we both understand this cannibal thing? But they're trying to navigate through that. The movie's okay. You can tell like it's just a big allegory for kind of like finding your crowd. like it's kind of like, you know, like when you feel like an outcast, but it's like then what it's like when you meet people who are like you, and like trying to understand that, and like just because people are like you, that doesn't make them good people or bad people, because like they do meet other people that some aren't as good as them and some do things a different way, that it's just like at the end of the day people are just people. And it's like, you know, a tale of like what does love mean, so on and so forth.
1 minute, wrap it up.
I was gonna say the movie was just okay. I think it fell between $5 Tuesday and Stream It.
Okay.
And I think it was like a solid $5 Tuesday movie. Like I was like, when I left, me and my brother, like we talked about it, and I was like, that was all right.
Mhm.
And he's like, yeah, that was all right. So like that's kind of like where I'm at with it. I feel like if you're into the young adult scene, like if you're into these movies, like I can't think of like a Twilight type thing, like that's the vibe of this and stuff like that.
Okay.
Is that it?
Yeah, you got Strange World next.
Strange World, Disney movie. It was a Disney movie. It is about father and son. The father, his name is like Gade Yeager or something like that, where he's like the greatest explorer of all time.
Mhm.
And he takes his son with him, but his son isn't really like the biggest like explorer type of deal. You got a crazy face going on.
No, because I know Jason Momoa just had a movie that.
That's not it. That's not the one you're talking about. I know where he's got like he's like a cat or some shit
Right,
in it.
yeah.
This is an animated movie.
Okay.
And on one of their excavations or adventures, whatever you want to call it, they hit like this impasse where his son discovers something, and he's like, yo, like I don't think that we need to keep exploring, like we just bring this thing back, and I think this is all we need. And the dad is just like, no, like we're explorers, like we continue the journey, like whatever that thing is, like it's whatever, we don't care about that, we're trying to get to the next place. And it's like they have their first, they go their opposite directions. The father is never seen again. Turns out the thing that the son discovered is like the greatest source of energy.
Mhm.
So like he's known for being like this great adventurer, so on and so forth, all this other type of stuff, or inventor. And his father was never seen again. So he holds like some sort of anger against his father for like leaving, stuff like that. We go to the future. We fast forward. He now has his own family. He's like the mayor of the town, stuff like that. Something happens with that plant, so they have to go on an adventure to try to figure out what's going on with it. They go to like, it's like a land of the lost, center of the earth type of story.
Okay.
The son, or like, and then what it really is it's a story of like fatherhood and like pushing your child into a box.
Mhm.
Because like the father was holding on to like this thing of like, you tried to push me into this explorer box, but I'm not that.
Okay.
While he's doing the same thing to his son, because his son kind of wants to be an explorer, but he's like, nah, man, like, yo, listen, like we're farmers, this is what we do.
Mhm.
Like we got to do this and this, because this is what keeps this whole city running.
Mhm.
And like it takes a while for the son to be like, yo, no, that's what you want to do,
Mm.
that's not what I want to do.
Sound like some from scratch.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, and he has to have a moment where he's just like, wow, this sounds real familiar, this sounds like exactly what I told like my pops like at that point in time or whatever.
Mhm.
I thought it was a solid movie. I can see why Disney didn't like super promote this movie like they usually do. Like this wasn't like one where you saw commercials over and over again and stuff like that. Like I thought it was solid. I didn't think that it was great. It obviously had some of the points where it was like, you know, this father son stuff. So like it hits you like at a certain point because you're just like, damn, bro, like, you know, like you just can't get this thing. And then it's like
2 minutes.
and the thing is too is like this movie is very diverse. Like, you know, like it is a white guy protagonist, but he's married to a white woman, black woman. The son is black. There's Native American people in here, so on and so forth. There's LGBTQ people in there. Like they're very accepting people, but for some reason he just can't. He can accept his sexuality, all this other stuff or whatever. He just can't accept his like career choice or stuff like that. Like, I think it's because like he feels like it's almost like he's choosing like his father over him,
Gotcha.
type of deal or whatever. If I was to put this on the nasty scale, I'm sure this is going to be in Disney Plus at some point pretty soon.
I was
Because
assuming it was because you said it was a Disney movie.
it is a Disney movie. I don't know if it's already on Plus, but like Black Panther isn't even on Disney Plus yet, and it's like that movie came out a while ago.
Sure.
I do think it's worth a watch. I do think it's a little bit better than Bones and All.
Okay.
So like it did also fall in that either stream it or matinee. I think it's perfectly like a matinee movie. It's definitely a great bring your kids to this movie. Like there's a lot of like I said, it's like a journey into the center of the earth type deal. So there's like a bunch of creatures and different monsters. Like, you know, they always find like some sort of alien type Stitch animal, but it looks like a white blood cell type of deal. And it's like that's like the almost like the B2 of this movie, where it's like, you know, it doesn't talk, it's like and then they follow it around. It's just so I thought it was pretty decent.
Okay. Up next, you have Devotion.
Okay, Devotion. is the new
I
Jonathan.
love this. Like, you so ready to go.
Devotion is the new Jonathan Majors movie. Who those who don't know, Jonathan Majors, he's the guy from Lovecraft Country.
The airplane joint, right?
He's a new airplane joint. He's Kang the Conqueror. You'll be seeing him soon in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Creed 3.
He's going to be a Creed 3. There was a point. I think it was Wakanda Forever. It was like there was 3 Jonathan Majors movie trailers back to back. There was Devotion, Creed 3, and Ant-Man. I was like, look at my boy. Look at him flourishing, bro.
Killing it.
Kills it in this movie too. So this movie is about like kind of like I don't want to say the Tuskegee Airmen because it's not that, but it is like the pilots in the Vietnam War. And while it is a movie, I didn't realize it until the end of the movie, but like it's movies based on a true story, and it's about this specific pilot. So because like there was a lot of things in there where I was just like, why are they going like this direction with the movie? But then once you find out it's a real story, I was just like, oh shit. I was like, that's why it's not going by like a movie script, because this is how it actually happened. Right. And it makes a lot of sense. He is a very, very talented pilot. And during the Vietnam War, problem is he's black. But the thing is, like, not a lot of people have a problem with him being black, especially the people like that are in his like Marine Corps. One of the main new recruits is the guy who played Hangman in Top Gun Maverick. I think his name's I think his name's like Glenn Powell or something like that, whatever his real name is. But it's like, he lives in a pretty decent neighborhood, but he's the only black guy that lives in his neighborhood. So he's pretty much just dedicated to being like this perfect pilot. They wind up getting sent to Vietnam. And it's kind of the story about like how him and his troop, what was it? I can't remember what the specific No Man's Land. They are the ones that are tasked with helping the ground fighters in No Man's Land. Gotcha. Because like nobody can get past this point or like whatever stuff like that. And him and his team are tasked with on there to get to that mission. I don't want to spoil any of the movie stuff. That, like I said, it is a true story. They do show all the stuff like at the end, like the black and white photos,
for true
stuff like. And it was there was a point in this movie. It was like it got super quiet and like everybody in my theater. There's a lot of that. And then like there was one lady, she hit a perfect note, like where something happened and she was like, oh no. And I was just like, yo, I agree. Oh no. But like I thought the movie was pretty good. The only thing about it is like while Top Gun Maverick is like everything that's dope about being a pilot, this movie is like, here's all the shitty stuff about being a pilot. So it's like there's like that part of it where it's like it's not it's not the most like exciting movie. It's not that. It really is like a period piece and it's like all this other stuff. There's a lot of action scenes that do happen in it, but it's like it doesn't give you the same up that like these other movies would give you. So like I was debating, I was like, is this it really was in that range. I was like, it could be a full pricer, it could be a matinee, or it could be a $5 Tuesday. Like I couldn't figure out where it was. I think I settled on it being a matinee level movie. It was pretty good. I won't be surprised if this is on TNT and it plays like every Sunday when you're at your family's house, or every Saturday like in the middle of the day, and like don't be surprised if you see this on there.
Okay.
Yeah, don't be surprised.
Okay.
It might end up a cultural gem at some point in time if you actually watch it.
All right. Next we have Spirited.
Okay, Spirited. Spirited is the new Ryan Reynolds, Will Ferrell movie, and it is essentially the 2002 version of A Christmas Carol. So Will Ferrell plays the ghost of Christmas Present. Okay. And the thing is, like, the whole world is like, those ghosts are part of like an organization. So there's like a whole team. They all come together. Like somebody plays the Ghost of Christmas Past, who's Tracy Morgan. Okay. There's someone who plays the Ghost of Christmas Present, Ghost of Christmas Future, so on and so forth.
You said Tracy Morgan. You got me locked in.
Tracy Morgan.
He plays Will Ferrell. You got me locked in.
He plays like the Ghost of Christmas Future. So it's like he's really just like the Grim Reaper, and he points and stuff like that. But like when he does talk, he's like, "Yo, I'm tired of pointing that shit, man." Like, just stuff like that. Like it's mad funny. But so Will Ferrell, so like the way that this world works is like they do a certain comedy. It is a comedy. It's a musical comedy, which I thought I was like, I don't know. I was like, because they did the first musical number, and I was like, I don't know how this movie's gonna go. I might have to sneak out of this and watch Wakanda Forever. But they get to the point because it's a comedy where they're literally looking at each other like, another one, like, you know, because Will Ferrell will be like, I want to be, and then like the person is like, no, you don't have to. God damn it! And it's like, you know, he goes off into it or whatever. But it's like it was really good. Like I was very surprised. So like the way that it works is like you're supposed to do a certain amount of these, they're called hauntings, and then you earn the ability to retire. And it's like when you retire, you get to fulfill the rest of your time on Earth. So like if you died at a certain point in time, you can then be reborn back in your time or whatever.
Okay.
Will Ferrell is so far past the point of retirement age, like he just refuses to retire. Like they keep trying to get him to retire, he won't do it, type of deal, because like he loves what he's doing. And like you start, and then you finally figure out there's a point in there where like you find out like how far in the past like he's actually from,
right.
and stuff like that. But they have a dossier of like someone that they want to do, but he feels like unfulfilled by it, and he winds up running into Ryan Reynolds' character, who's like a very shitty businessman, and it's like them trying to haunt him, but like he's kind of like turning the haunt like on its own head and stuff like that. And it's a really, really dope remake of the Christmas Carol, and stuff like that. And it's like I was dying laughing. The people I had a lot of black people in my theater, and like a lot of them were dying too about like a lot of stuff that was going, yo, this brother tripping. Like, there's a lot of that going on. So like I had a very active audience today.
You know I love that type of audience.
I was like, this is a type of
audience.
I was like, this is a raising crowd for sure. So like everybody was pretty well. It was very funny. The music was actually pretty good. Like I felt like this was a type of thing, like you know how like Her's doing the Beauty and the Beast like play thing. It felt like one of those.
Okay. 1 minute.
But it was really good. I wouldn't be surprised if this starts getting added to people's Christmas movie rotation. I think it's a very solid. Excuse me, it's in the matinee category. Okay. I don't think it was a full pricer. I saw it on a $5 Tuesday, and I was like, this was well worth my money. I was like, I would have paid more money to watch it. It was a lot better because I also wasn't planning on seeing it like at all. I was like, this movie looks trash. I was like, I'm not really into musicals, stuff like that or whatever. Right. I was very glad that I was wrong when I left it. I was like, Will Ferrell's funny, Ryan Reynolds funny. There's heart in the movie because you know that's what gets me is like when they get the heart right, that's when they get it. And I was just like, man, they hit.
Ryan Reynolds is the dude to play Deadpool, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't believe that I had to explain who Ryan Reynolds was.
Sorry.
I thought it was what you got. Like that was in the bag, like Will Ferrell.
Okay, so up next you got Violent Night.
Okay.
This movie looked trash.
Violent Night is a movie starring David Harbour,
which is the guy from
Harper from Stranger Things. He was also in that terrible Hellboy remake, you know, stuff like that or whatever. So I was under the impression that this movie was about like a mall Santa or something like that gets trapped somewhere or whatever. Like it was type of deal like that. This is not it. This is the actual Santa Claus. Kris Kringle himself, Saint Nick.
Slaying.
He gets caught. He's in a house dropping off his Christmas presents while that home gets invaded by like it's like a very rich home. They get invaded by like, I guess you could call them terrorists, like if you wanted to, like, or like they're trying to rob them. They scare the reindeer away and they do all the other stuff. So Santa is now stuck in this house. If there was a way to sum up this movie, this is Home Alone, Die Hard, and the Santa Claus all mixed in one movie. This movie was fantastic, bro.
What?
It was fantastic.
Are you serious?
I was like, this movie is so dope. Like it's like Santa is going off on these people because it's like, you know, there's only certain things about him that are magical, like so, but it also just gets into the history of like Santa Claus, like himself, like he's like, yo, I'm like he was like a Viking back in the day, and they used to call him such and such, and like it just has like a bunch of dope moments. It's super funny, and then like they have like this little girl character, who's stuck in the house, and like boy oh boy, this girl was just tugging at heartstrings like in this movie, like she's just like, but I believe in you, Santa, and like stuff like that, and I'm just like.
Oh my goodness!
This is a raisin movie if I've ever seen a raisin movie, bro. You want to talk about funny blood moving all around, and then I was like, yo, if he's there with his son, there's certain things where you just like, It's like, and it's like, you know, they have a dope way of him showing stuff like, so like the naughty or nice list is like, you know, it's like a hologram type of deal, but it's like he could pull it up at any time, like just say your name, and then like it'll have like all the stuff on it, and like nobody in there believes that he's Santa Claus until he does certain things where they're like, oh shit, is this the real Santa? And then like they start like, you know, the bad guys, like they're like diehard villains, like they're like Russian or whatever, and they're like, wait, is he a real Santa? Like they're just like that, and it's like, so like the play on that is like this type of stuff that be having me dying. I think it hits all the notes. I think this is 100% should be added to people's holiday rotation. Like, I don't know if it's a great kids movie because there is a lot of like broken bones, people getting shot, stuff like that. There's a bit of cussing and swearing. The main villain is John Leguizamo.
Okay.
And it's like, yo, he's like, yo, call me. You could call me the Scrooge, and it's like, because like the little terrorist squad that he has coming in, like everybody has code names and stuff like that. So he's like, yo, so that's Frosty, that's Miss Claus, like, you know, stuff like that. And it was just like, because the movie starts off like it feels kind of corny like at first, but once it starts to get into it, I was like, this movie is great. The people in my theater stood up and clapped, and then stuff like that when it was done. Nick and I was like, yo, like I looked over and I was just like, yeah, that was pretty fire. He was like, yo, that shit was dope, bro. I was like, yo, Violent Night is where it's at, man. I don't know if it's gonna be in my top 10. It is a must see though. It's a must see. A should see. It's a should see.
A should see. Okay.
It's a full pricer and it's a should see.
Okay.
I think if you're looking for like if you're tired of seeing A Christmas Story, Grinch, all this other stuff, you're looking for like a new Christmas movie to add to the collection, Die Hard for some people, I think this is it. I think Violent Night is where it's at. I think David Harbour was great as Santa, and stuff like that. And I was like, I'll watch a number 2 of this. It was good.
Okay. All right. Next up, you have Guardians Christmas Special.
You didn't watch the Guardians Christmas Special?
I didn't even know there was a Christmas special.
All right.
Were they singing like Mariah Carey or something? What's going on?
No.
Come on, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
No.
There is a couple songs on there and stuff like that. But all right. Guardians Christmas Special. It is on Disney Plus. This is not in the theaters, so like you can watch it at home at any point in time.
All right.
What happens is you get this story. So like the Guardians are on this one specific planet, and it happens to be around Christmas time.
Okay.
And like there's a bunch of aliens that they don't nobody understands Christmas because it's just an Earth custom or whatever. But then we get Kraglin, who was the right hand man to Yondu that has the fin now. He's like the skinny brother.
Who's Yondu? The guy who used to control.
The guy with the fin, with the whistle.
Oh yeah.
And like how his right hand man is like kind of like his, you know, the white dude.
Yep, I know you're talking about.
So like he starts to tell Mantis, Drax, and like the rest of the Guardians about how Yondu ruined Christmas for Peter. Like, so they don't celebrate Christmas on the ship because one time Peter tried to put Christmas together. Yondu stomped the presents out, all this other stuff or whatever. So he's like, that's probably because like they're like, oh, what's wrong with Peter? And they're like, oh, it's got to be because Gamora's not around, stuff like that. And then Kraglin's like, actually, I think it's because tomorrow's Christmas, so on and so forth. And like, this is what it is. So like, they're trying to find what is the perfect gift to get Peter. And they were just like, what do we get him? What does he always talk about? And like, what do we get him? It's like, duh. We gotta get him Kevin Bacon. So this movie is about the Guardians coming to Earth to try to kidnap Kevin Bacon to give him as a present to Star-Lord.
Oh my goodness.
And hilarity ensues. The movie is only, I think it's like an hour, 20 minutes long. It's not very long, like at all. It's pretty straightforward. So like they come to Earth, like, you know, they got, like I'm talking about big spaceship coming around and everybody's like freaking out because like the last spaceship that came was Thanos and stuff like that. So like there's a lot of good jokes like in there because of that. And then like we see Kevin Bacon and it's like they have to try to convince Kevin Bacon to come with them, but he's like, yo, you guys are like crazy looking aliens, and he's trying to run from them. And it's like they have to fight the cops, like all this other stuff or whatever.
For Kevin Bacon.
It was whatchamacallit. It's a solid movie. Like obviously, like I didn't have to pay for it. It's on Disney Plus.
Okay.
I think it's a good kids movie. It's primarily a Mantis and Drax story. Okay. And I heard that James Gunn only made this because like he felt like they got sidelined in a lot of the movies and then stuff like that. And I thought Mantis is absolutely hilarious in this movie. Like she's like my favorite character in her because like you know how like even when she fights she goes like she does like Mantis things or whatever. Yeah, and she's super. I don't know. Like I just think she's super cute. Like as a character, I'm like, oh, like she doesn't understand what she's doing. Okay. Yeah, so it's a Christmas story starring the Guardians of the Galaxy, and then at the end they have a really really hilarious scene like where they're opening their gifts, and it's like I can't spoil the gifts because it's like a lot of them be like, yo, like they've been talking about that since this movie, so on and so forth. Like you can imagine what Rocket's gift is and like stuff like that or whatever.
Right.
Obviously they didn't have a lot of those characters in
I
it.
know what Rocket's gift is.
Do you? Did you see it? Is that what?
No, because I already know everything that he asked for, he always gets, and there was one thing he asked for that he did not get. And
You sure you didn't see it?
no, I'm positive I didn't see
I'm
it.
talking about the clip. Like you didn't see the picture of the clip of like what it
I
was?
didn't even know this movie existed. You just brought it up.
Do you want to take a guess and I'll tell you yes or no?
I know exactly what it is.
What is it?
It's what's name's arm.
Whose arm?
The Winter Soldier.
It's 100% the Winter Soldier's arm.
I knew it. I knew it.
It's a lot of that stuff, and it's like
because I remember him saying, "I'm gonna get that arm."
and like yeah, so like like Nebula, Rocket, Groot, like they're kind of Groot is now like a teenager and he's got like the swole teenage body.
What?
It's like, I am Groot, like that. And it's like it's very very Guardiansy. It's not on the level of a Guardians movie and stuff like that. I do think it was pretty good. If this was in the theater, I think this falls in between like a full price matinee type of deal. I think if you're a big Guardians fan, stuff like that, then it's a full pricer. But I think for most modern audiences, it's like a matinee price level. Okay. But like because if you have Disney Plus, it's free. I feel like why not check it out? I'm assuming kids would love it. And like who can go wrong with more Guardians? Okay. I know that I hit my 5 minutes. I know I got one more movie left, but I do have something to bring up just because of this. Okay. And it's because I was like, wow, this was pretty good. But I know that the new Guardians movie is getting ready to come out. Yes. And they dropped the trailer and all this other stuff, whatever. Yes. And I was talking to one of my best friends, Chef Chelios, and we were talking about like what's the greatest superhero movie trilogy like of all time. And we came up with like the Batmans, like the Spider-Mans, like because you have like the X-Men, Blade, you got like all like Captain America, Thor, like all this other stuff, whatever. And I was like, yo, like I think the Batman kind of stands head and shoulders like above like all the rest of them and stuff like that. But I was like, but if this new Guardians of the Galaxy movie is fantastic, I feel like they haven't missed. Like all of them have been really good. Like Batman, for all intents and purposes, like however you feel about the Dark Knight Rises, like I really like Dark Knight and Begins. Val Kilmer. Not that. I'm talking about specifically the three movies. So like you have Batman Begins, Dark Knight, Dark Knight Rises, and it's like I always felt like Dark Knight Rises is kind of weak. It's not bad, but it's kind of weak. Mm-hmm. All of these Guardians movies up to this point have been really strong. Mm-hmm. And I was like, if this number 3 is up there, it might be the greatest superhero movie trilogy like of all time. If they really knock it out the park. Better than Spider-Man? Yeah. Like Spider-Man 3 is awful, bro. I was just wondering. Maybe the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Or not Tobey, Tom Holland. So like, you got your Spider-Man Homecoming, Far From Home, stuff like that. Like that's pretty strong up there too. And it's like, I don't know if you count the Avengers movies because then it's like, no, that's unfair. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, because then you got Endgame and Infinity War in there. That's tough. Yeah, but then they got Age of Ultron. Oh, you got to say Guardians of the Galaxy were also in those movies. Yeah, there are 2 of them. Yeah. So like, I guess. All right. But like, yeah, I just wanted to bring that point up because now we're on our last movie, right? You're on your last movie. All right. I just got out the theater. Was it yesterday or whatever from seeing Avatar 2. Okay. Avatar 2 is obviously is a 15-year continuation from Avatar 1 from 2009, starring Zoe Saldana and I think his name is Sam Worthington. Continue, I got you. This movie also features like Eddie Falco, like stuff like people that you've seen before, but almost everyone in this movie is a Na'vi. They're the blue people anyway, so it's like whoever you think that they are, they're going to be pretty unrecognizable. But like the premise of this movie is we are now 15 years from the first Avatar movie. So Jake Sully and Worthington. Yeah, that's what I said, right? Mm-hmm. Vin Diesel is in this. Wait, Vin Diesel's in it. Who does he play? I don't know. Doesn't even have a name. I'm confused. So Jake Sully. Michelle Yeoh, Cliff Curtis. Wow. So, damn, man, you throw me off, bro. Michelle Rodriguez? She was always in these. Letty? She was always in these. She was in the first Avatar. I didn't know. Almost every person that you named is from the first Avatar, too. So 15 years, Jake Sully has a family now. They're living in the forest. He now has 2 sons, 2 daughters. Mm-hmm. we finally find out the villain that he killed from Avatar 1. Before they went out on that mission, they downloaded their consciousness and loaded them into Navi bodies. So the villain is now been reborn, and his task force, which has Michelle Rodriguez and such and such on there. So then they are sent. So
Oh, that's right. I do remember her in the movie now.
so Avatar 1, they take the sky people and they make them flee the planet. This movie is them coming back, and now they have the same strength, speed, and stuff like that as them, but now they're just military trained with military weaponry. So they come back. Jake Sully runs into them, and he discovers that they're back before they were ready for them to, stuff like that. So like he decides that he's going to take his family and leave the forest to protect his people. They go for a long period of time, and they wound up running into the Navi of the Water Tribe, which is why this movie is called The Way of Water. So they're taken in by
This kind
this.
of seems like a really big premise connected to Wakanda forever, but
You think so, right? Sounds like that, right? So now that they are with the water people are very different from the forest people, because like they live in different places, so like their physiology is different. So like they have bigger tails, they have wider arms, because like they're used to swimming, they hold their breath longer, stuff like that. So like now Jake Sully and his family need to learn the way of the water to live with the water people. Meanwhile, the people, I wish I remember the bad guy's name, but like his squad is like systematically going from place to place trying to find Jake Sully and them, and so they're like destroying other people's civilizations to try to extract the information to find out where they can find them. That's the best that I can lay it out without going into the story, stuff like that. This movie, I need to say, I was not the biggest fan of Avatar 1.
Start with how long it is.
It is 3 hours and 22 minutes. I went into that movie at 12:20. I think I called you at 4:20 or something. And that's what I got up.
Dark outside.
It was dark outside.
It's dark outside.
Yeah, I went in the middle of the day, so like that. I was not the biggest fan of Avatar 1. I thought it was pretty good, but then I thought like once it made that like the number one selling movie like of all time, I was just like, yo, this movie's not that. Like it's nowhere near that good. It was solid. It was never that good. This movie, I kind of take that stuff back. Like I was like, yo, this movie was fantastic.
It took him 14 years to do a sequel.
And the 3 other sequels are going to be coming in like sequential order.
Really?
They're like 90% done with number 3, and it's supposed to come out, I believe, in 2024.
The Mountain Avatars, you gotta find you a rock person.
I was thinking that in the middle of this, I was like, is this turning into Avatar: The Last Airbender? Is that what's going on?
That's why I went with that. Oh,
I was like, yo, let me know when we get to the lava Navi. That's what I'm
right.
But visually, this movie is incredible. Like I was like literally like I said wow, like at least a couple times, where just how amazing these things look. And I saw it in the real 3D thing like that. I'm not a big fan of 3D movies.
How does that work with your glasses?
I just put it on over the glasses, because if I would have known it was a 3D movie, I would have went and wear my contacts, but I didn't. But it's like they've actually still got my 3D goggles. So I was like, all I do just do like that.
Okay.
So like I don't watch 3D movies because I think 3D looks like shit. So like, that's the reason why I don't do it. I was like, if all 3D movies looked like this movie, I'd watch more 3D movies. There was points where they were in the forest and I was like swatting away bugs and stuff like that. Like I promise you, this movie looks insane. It looks insane. And it's like a lot of the stuff from like, like in the beginning of the movie, like they're in the forest. So it's like a lot of the stuff like you kind of seen from part 1. Yo, when they hit the water, bro, they hit the water and you're just like you're so taken aback, because it's like they're down there touching like the flora, like, and all that stuff, like there's like their version of whales, and you're just like, holy I'm like, yo, I can see why this movie took so long, and I feel like it was worth it. I was like, this looks it's the best looking movie I've ever seen.
Okay.
Like you think about because like we've kind of hit a point with like CGI and stuff like that, right? Where it's like now it's hard to even tell certain things are CGI. Like you think about like Thanos. Thanos was all CGI, but it was like he seemed like a person to me. Like he didn't like there was no point where I was like, oh, he looks awful.
There's an actor for him.
Yeah, but it was like I watched Wednesday, and like I said, like you could tell, I'm like, oof, that doesn't look too good or something like that. Oof. There's a lot of that. This movie, like these kids, they're real kids to me. Like the Zoe Saldana's character, I was just like, yo, like I can see why people wanted to bang these Navi like in these movies. Like there's a lot of that going on. One of the young girls, I thought it was like Holly Bailey or Chloe Bailey, whichever one of them are. I was just like, yo man, like this looks incredible. This movie is much more of a focus on the kids because it's like, yes, we're moving from the forest tribe to the water tribe, but like you got to kind of think about it like for the kids, this is like switching cities or like moving cities, and it's like now we're in a new high school and we're the new kids, and like we we can't hold our breath as long. We can't swim as well. We don't understand nothing they're doing. So like they're kind of like outcasts because of that. And it's like they're trying to do that while also living up to the name of like the great Jake Sully. Like his name rings out. Like when he shows up, like he's like, "Oh, I'm Jake Sully." They're like, "Whoa, shoot! Like we've heard about you. Like you're the, you know what I mean?" And it's just like he talks to his kids like, "Yo, what was your mission? Like what was this?" And it's like so they're very much like, "Yes, sir. No, sir." Like, so it's like they're military brats, type of deal. But then it's like. I'm telling you, man, like the emotional beats like in this movie. So like I said, like it's like it's more of a kids movie, but it's also like just a movie about like family and like fatherhood.
So that's why Vin Diesel and Letty is in it.
I guess I really need to know which one was Vin Diesel now that I think about it, and I'm like maybe it was one of the bald-headed Navi.
Maybe, or maybe that's incorrect.
Or maybe he's one of the whales, like because they have pretty deep. Because he does the voice acting, like he does Groot, he did the Iron Giant. Yeah.
He said maybe he's one of the whales. Like,
yo, this brother
did play Orca 1, 2, and 3.
He's a great voice actor. What you want me? He made me cry with the Iron Giant, bro. He made me cry with Groot too.
That's hilarious.
Groot. But like this movie like is about like fatherhood and like family in general and like trying to find like the right dynamics. Like he has the two sons and one of the sons is like the older one and the other one's kind of like the knucklehead, so like he always yells at one differently than he yells at the other one, and it's like they can see that, and it's like they're trying to like offset each other. Like he'll be like, "No, Dad, I did it." He's like, "Why are you always trying to take the blame for him?" And it's just like, like I was like, I know exactly like what these things feel like and stuff like that. And then like I thought it was leaps and bounds better than Avatar 1.
Okay.
I think this is a fantastic family movie. Just like I was like, this is the type of movie that if you go there with the whole family, you might wind up hugging your sons in the middle of this movie. Just like, yo, man, like I just want to let you know that I love you, bro. It's one of those. And I was like, it caught me a few times, and it was like you can hear the other people. I also had a very I don't want to say they were an active audience, but they did what they were supposed to do. When it's supposed to be quiet, they're quiet. But when certain things are happening, like there was like. Like there's like this one lady that hit the gas, and then it was like, "Oh no!" Or like it's like that. Or what the hell? There's a lot of that going on, and so like that. And it was like they also standing ovation after this movie. Like when they were done, like people clapped. I will let you guys know ahead of time. There is no post credit scene. I sat through them long ass credits, and I waited, and nothing came up. I was pretty pissed. So I'll let you know there is no post credit scene. I guess we could wait until you see it to get into the spoilers, bro. But I'm telling you, I know that like
I'm gonna watch it right away.
I know you be putting stuff on the back burner. I know you be like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna get to it. I know. Take the fam, bro. Right. Take the fam. Watch it on the big screen. Do the real 3D, and it's just like, yo, it's worth it. Right. I know that it's a pretty penny for you guys, but
that's all right. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. You know, I'm a platinum member, so like, you want to talk to your boy, come holler at me.
I'm talking to you now. Hollering at you now.
Let me know when you want to go.
All right, I will.
But yeah, Avatar 2, like without a doubt, it's a full pricer.
Okay.
I think the only question is it a must see? That's the only thing is like, is it a must see? And like, I think it is a movie, and I think you should see it. Like, especially like if you like going to the movies, it's a must see.
3.5 hours.
It might be in my top 10 at the end of the year.
To come out the movies like, oh.
I had a moment where I was looking at my top 10 movies of the year, and I was like, is it Avatar 2 or is it Nope? Is it Avatar 2 or is it Wakanda Forever? Like I was looking at it and I was just like, I didn't expect myself to be so into the Avatar movie as much as I was. And I think that's a testament to how good the movie is, where it's like I was anti this movie and now I'm like, wow, like I'm so glad I saw it. I might watch Avatar 1 again. And then I very quickly was like, I ain't watching that shit.
All right, well, there you have it. Popcorn Pop. Yeah, I'm with it. I'm gonna go see it. I got you.
Yeah. I think it was worth it.
All right.
I'd be really mad if this was one of the movies you watched on your phone. Like the rest of them, I'm like, yeah, you can see it on your phone. I just want you to see it.
I want to see it in 3D because I want to smack something from in front of my face.
I'm telling you, like incredible look. I was just like, I've never seen things look this like good and real. And it's not as much as the popping out because like they don't do like a lot of that, but it's just like these creatures look like real creatures. Like these things, like everything in here looks real. Like these Navi look like people. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like there's at no point in time do I feel like I'm watching something animated. Like everything looks so lived in, and so like the water, the way that it's incredible, bro.
Lived in, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Is that
Avatar
it?
too. That's all I had. And the thing is, like, I don't know what the next movie that's supposed to be up is. So like, I'm pretty sure our next pod is going to be like our year-end wrap-up, right? It's gotta be.
Yeah, it's gotta be. It's gotta be. I'm with it. I like year-end wrap-ups.
I'm sure.
We get on our Uncle Murder.
Mad skills. He said he's gonna retire but never retires.
Right. All right. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Popcorn Poppy is a wrap. What is that?
Talocon.